Evagoras Papasavvas took his number 6 J. Howard Driver Development USF 2000 Indy car north of the border last weekend and drove it right into Victory Lane on the streets of Toronto. Hello everybody, I'm Chuck Gibson with another Evagoras Papasavvas Race Report on Loveland Beacon Talks. Joining us by telephone is the talented 16-year-old race driver to share his race for the 2024 USF 2000 Driver Championship story. Let's get right to Evagoras now. Well, welcome back once again, Evagoras Papasavvas, and congratulations on that great race, that great win on Sunday in Toronto.
Yeah, Chuck, thank you. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on here.
Well, hey, you know what? It's my pleasure to have you with us. It has been a lot of fun this season, and we're unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depends on how you look at it. We're coming up on the end of the racing season, but that's a month away still, so you've got some time. I'm guessing though, with that win Sunday, you were ready. Like, let's go to Portland Monday and do this again, right?
Yeah, I was feeling very ready to go to Portland and very eager to just perform well again and win again. But yeah, so I was just very, very pumped up after that win.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things, as this season has gone on, you have accomplished so much with so many great podium finishes. Forgetting about, there were some tough things like, incidents on the track, failures, whatever, that contributed to some harder days. But you've accomplished so much this season with the number of times on the podium in second and third place. But one of the things that stands out for me, Evagoras, and it must stand out for you as well, is last season, first full season, you collected your first victory in the USF 2000 series, and you did that at Mid-Ohio. And you've doubled that. You doubled that with the win at Toronto, because you picked up your first victory of the season at Mid-Ohio 2 weeks ago, and then you doubled the total with a win in the second race at Toronto on Sunday. So great accomplishments in this second full season of racing in the USF 2000 series. And what do you say?
Well, I was interviewed after my second win of the season in Toronto.
Right.
And honestly, I told him that I feel like the second win of the season was, it was a step forward, and it gave me even more confidence and boost, and kind of kept the momentum rolling even more than the first win, especially doing it somewhere else that's not Mid-Ohio. So, it just really is a big confidence boost that you can win anywhere. So, with this win that we had in Toronto, it's just a big boost of confidence and morale just in general to go win in Portland.
Yeah, well, I know that that interview that you referred to after the win at Toronto was immediately after the race, so the emotions are, fully in gear and a lot of excitement. And here we are. That was Sunday. It's Tuesday morning back home in Loveland, Ohio, and you've had a chance for it to settle in. What kind of stands out for you now that you've had a chance for that to all settle in? And I know you just touched on some of that. Obviously, that feeling of winning at a different track. You don't only win at Mid-Ohio. Now you've collected a victory in Toronto at another, on the streets of Toronto. A great race, a great format for you, so to speak.
Yeah, I just think it's just as you look back on it, I just think it's a big relief that, you were able to come back from the trip to Toronto with a victory, with a trophy in hand. And, it's just kind of right after that win, we're not really thinking about that anymore. We're just full focus on Portland coming up in a month. We do have like I said, we have a month, so it's going to be a little bit of a break. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this break. Not really thinking about racing much. Because actually, what I like to do, after I'll probably mention this in a different episode before, but like after my races, when I come back, I don't like to be, always, thinking about racing. I like to just, do things that a normal teenager would do in Loveland. So, I feel like that helps me a lot mentally. So I'm not always thinking about racing, but yeah, with this 1 month break we have, definitely looking forward to relaxing a little bit and then coming back to Portland to hopefully win again.
Well, shoot, Evagoras, I'm the guilty one because here we are a couple days after, and I'm making you think about racing a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? We did. It was so much fun. A few weeks ago when you had that break, and we got to talk a little bit. And thank you so much for sharing those stories, because again, I remind the listeners, we are talking to Evagoras Papasavvas, who is in, the J. Howard driver development team for Indy racing, and he's 16 years old, coming up on the close of his second full season of racing. And so Evagoras, I appreciate, I think the listeners appreciate being reminded that in fact, like you just said, typical teenager in Loveland, Ohio during the summer. So we talked about it in that previous episode, as you mentioned. You got to go have a real fun visit with one of your friends in Indianapolis. Is there anything that you've got like absolutely planned for the next 3 to 4 weeks before you head back into the cockpit in Portland? Any specific plans?
Not really. Just hanging out with friends and just kind of doing whatever. Just having fun. But one thing that is certain for sure is that Toronto was the last race of the summer, and Portland's going to be during the school year. So now the school year's coming up, and I don't like to think about it, but that's definitely one thing that's going to be happening over this 3-4 weeks.
Well, you know what? I was talking with a young lady this morning who is going to start her, she's going to be a high school freshman when school starts back up. And she said school starts back up August 15th. And in the back of my mind immediately I thought, wow, Evagoras doesn't race again until August 22nd. So just like you said, you're going to be back in school. But here's what I said to that young lady. I don't know who messed up the school schedules, but you're not supposed to be back in school until after Labor Day. This August start to school is a big mess, Evagoras.
Yeah, I wish that we didn't start till Labor Day. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is that with school starting on August 15th, my race is August 22nd, so it's like right after. I only have like a few days to really settle in and know what the school year is going to be like, and then I'm back to racing.
Yeah. Well, and then for the listeners again, so you're going to be a junior this year at Loveland High School, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I think let's leave that behind us for the moment because you still got a few weeks before you have to worry about getting into the classroom, and you've got about a month off from racing. But I still want to spend a little more time talking about, and we're going to stick with race 2 and again, Evagoras, how many of the guys that you're racing with and against this year in the USF 2000 series, how many have won green flag to checkered flag, led every lap? You've got 2 wins this year, and both have been flag to flag victories. What do you even know? Has anybody else done that this year? I
am actually unsure. I do not know. So I could be the only one, but I'm not sure.
I was thinking back, and I can't recall a flag to flag victory for any of the other drivers. But I did, now I got to be honest, since we were talking about, I didn't do my homework. I could have checked to find out for sure, but I didn't do the homework. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot and ask you, but the bottom line is, regardless if somebody else did it, that is an elite class. Take the lead from from the green flag, jump out into the lead, and then race that race. As you said in the interview, and I'm cheating here because I did hear the interview. As you said, get the lead and then hit your mark and drive your laps. And, that sounds simple, but that's not easy, is it?
No, definitely not, especially at a street course like Toronto, where, you're so close to the walls, the bumps are so violent there, so it's really easy to just mess you up. But yeah, just getting the lead and then hitting your marks, looking in your mirrors occasionally and sometimes, you look in your mirrors to see the gap, so the cars behind to see if that lap was good or if it wasn't very good, things like that. So it was a lot of that, just like fluctuating around. But yeah, it was just hitting my marks, staying consistent, keeping my eyes forward as much as possible, and yeah, hitting my marks, like I said.
Yeah, I thought of something, especially, as you have been in the mix and in the battle for that driver championship all season long. And it kind of, it's a little late for me, and in terms of somebody would have loved to have shared a morsel of advice with you along the way. But when, it kind of occurred to me over this past weekend, you can only race one race at a time. And you can't, just like I'm a big baseball guy, that, we've talked about it. You can't hit a 5-run home run. The most you can get is a grand slam, 4 runs, that's it. 3 runners on base, bingo, 4, that's it. And in a race, in one race, on one given weekend, you can't win the championship. And so I really love the way you talk about that focus in that race. And tell me a little bit about that, because obviously you have been in the mix for the driver championship, and maybe there's a little bit of sometimes trying to do too much has had an impact on you, during the race or maybe emotionally after. Tell us what that's been like for you, just being in that mix all season long.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's something that I'm not used to for sure. So it's learning, how to deal with those kind of emotions like that, being in a championship, for sure. So I've learned a lot in terms of that. And, it just prepares me more to compete in other championships the rest of my career with this knowledge and what I've learned of what it's like to compete in a championship like this. But yeah, the best thing that you can do, the best thing that I learned is that whatever happens, and you just focus on one race at a time, one lap at a time. Just do everything that you can to win races, and don't really think about winning championships. Just think about winning races. Right. Just winning races. That's it.
Well, that's it. Like I said, it kind of really occurred to me over the weekend, and kind of came from the words I heard from you immediately after that victory in Toronto, and I thought, what, that is exactly it. You cannot win the championship in one race. You have to, and you cannot win the championship in one lap. So, great lesson to learn. Good to know that it's landed solidly with you. And, as you do ultimately head toward Portland in a month from now, there's going to be 3 races, but, one lap and one race at a time, for Evagoras Papasavvas as you continue to, battle for that potential, driver championship when it's all over at Portland. So, that's very exciting. I want to go back to, again, you mentioned something a second ago, Evagoras, which I noticed watching the race on Sunday, watching it live. You said that the bumps on that Toronto street course are what you call violent bumps. Tell me a little bit about, because you could see that. It seemed like there was some bouncing and creates, different kind of handling for the drivers, I guess. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think this street course, honestly, I like it more than St. Pete. because this is like, it's a true street course. St. Pete, we're on a runway for the front straight. So yeah, this one I like it a lot more. I like the layout. I like just how different it is and how bumpy it is and how you have to deal with all of that. But yeah, so with Toronto, with the bumps, the biggest thing, especially in our very light cars, they can be thrown around very easily. So it's just learning how to deal with those bumps. And the best thing that you can do when you come across bumps, even in corners and whatnot, is to try and keep your steering wheel as straight as possible. So that when your tires hit the bump, it doesn't upset the car as much.
Right.
If you can, it might be a little bit difficult to think about it, but like if your tires are turned when you go into a manhole cover or whatever, when your tires are turned, then it would upset the car because of the angle that the tires are at.
Sure.
So it's the best if the tires are straight. So that's one of the things that you're thinking about when you come across bumps. But yeah.
Yeah. That makes. I was going to say ultimately, you can't go into the bump with the wheel turned. That's the biggest lesson there, right? Trying to.
Yeah.
Well, so and the other thing is I guess you do get some practice laps. So that's part of getting out there on the course beforehand. The practice and the qualifying is learning exactly where those bumps are and how to navigate that street course. Obviously, quick. You got to be a quick learner, right?
Yeah, because we only have one practice session and then straight to qualifying.
Yikes.
You have to be very quick with your thinking. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is to be able to learn quickly and to come into the weekend prepared.
Yeah.
Because the street courses is where we only have just one practice session. We don't have the test days before.
Yeah. Well, and you're part of a team. You're part of that Jay Howard driver development team, and you had a kind of a new guy. I say riding along with you, but racing along with you, Liam McNeely. And so, congratulations to you and to Liam. P1 and P2 on the podium in race 2. So that's great for the team. Congratulations to the Jay Howard team. Obviously set things up well. But my question to you, Evagoras, is how much do you drivers on the team and how much does Jay Howard share with each of you, feedback from one another? How do you help one another in a situation like that?
Yeah, I think, having a teammate with you that's up to your pace is very valuable and is very good because you two can now work together at the top level, which is what we did. Liam and I, we were working together all weekend long to prepare the cars as best as we could, and also just to come up with a strategy for the race. Us starting 1-2 and to try and give us the best result possible with the least amount of drama. So I think it was very, very, very important that I had Liam there. And yeah, so we just managed to all work out in the end with how we set up the car. We set up the car very, very well, and then also the race as well.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing too because you and Liam were starting at the front of the pack. In fact, P1 and P2, and Liam had P1 for race 2, correct?
Yeah.
And P2. So you guys are side by side at the start. It was side by side, right? You guys did rows of 2. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. Anyway, here's the thing. You were just talking about, you share things and you share even the strategy. Well, so, I'm Liam McNeely and I'm racing you, even though we're teammates. So, my strategy is, get out to a good start, stay ahead of Evagoras and race to victory. But yours, on the other hand, how does that strategy work in terms of you guys, being together on that?
Yeah, we're out there and we know the circumstances. so we know what to do. But yeah, when we're out there on track, it's racing. And being teammates, teammates are your biggest rival because they're in the same car as you. So yeah, being teammates, we're very, very similar on pace. And we stuck together for pretty much the entire race. Gap was pretty stable the entire time.
Right.
So, it was just about, the opening few laps, to, at least for me, for my part, was to just get past them cleanly, because we don't want to cause any drama, within the team that could, do us worse in the championship. So it was just about, battling with each other cleanly as possible, not making any contact, which we were able to do. And then, once we get past that, just about, clean laps, and, pretty simple, just out there in the front and just hitting lap after lap, until we get to the end. So, yeah. So
it's not like there was a strategy, like Jay Howard talked to both of you and said, look, maybe says, hey, Liam, Evagoras is still in the mix for the championship. He's not like telling Liam, give Evagoras room to pass you early or something. That's not part of the strategy. You're both seriously going out there to win that race. And I think as you just described, if the pass is there, make it clean for one another.
Well, so there was a little bit of that talk.
Yeah.
I'm in the championship. Liam, it's his first race, his debut race. There was a little bit of that talk. But the biggest thing is that just to, when we do, start battling each other, is to just do it cleanly. Because
right.
The last thing that we want is for, contact to happen between the both of us.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just making sure that we're very clean racing against each other. And then in that race, it's just about just hitting laps. Just, I say, single file, really just hitting laps and just getting after it.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Well, let's touch for a minute on these championship standings and then what is still coming up a month from now in Portland. So if I have this right, you correct me if I'm wrong. So, of course, first of all, I know I got this right. There will be 3 races in Portland. For the season, numbers 16, 17, and 18, but 1, 2, 3 in Portland. And the points available for the race winner ultimately is there's potentially 99 points available in Portland and toward the championship standings. Is that your understanding as well?
Yeah. So there's 99 points available. So I am within a mathematical chance of winning the championship, so it is possible.
Right.
I am 4th in the championship, so yes, it's definitely possible for me to win it. But, it's going to be tough, but it can happen, and there's a chance that it happens, and honestly, that's all I need is just a small chance for it to happen. And I'm just going to, just like, Toronto race 2, just going to focus on just winning races.
Right.
Not focusing on the championship, just doing my thing. With the team, and it's all part of God's plan. It's in His hands. What happens, that's out of my control. So yeah, we just have to just take a break over this month and then get back to it in Portland.
Well, and for the listeners, real quick, as Evagoras said, currently standing 4th in the overall driver championship standings, and you've spent time in that 2nd spot and that 3rd spot. So as I said, in the mix all season long. But at 288 points in the 4th slot, you're 59, and we just said there's 99 points available. So for the listeners, that's the reach that Evagoras has with 99 points available. He only trails the championship lead by 59. Obviously, the other drivers, Max Taylor in 3rd, Sam Corey in 2nd, and Max Garcia currently the leader. And Max has basically been the championship standings leader since sweeping the races at St. Pete to start the season. But nonetheless, 347 for Garcia, 312 for Corey, 305 for Taylor, and you're right there at 288. And, again, focusing on that first race at Portland, and, as you said, one lap at a time, hitting your marks and doing your laps. And I appreciate Evagoras, and you and I have talked about this. I know your faith is very important to you. And as you said, one lap at a time, hit your marks, drive your laps, and it's in the hands of God. And amen to that, my friend.
Yeah, that's my mindset going into this final race, and that's going to be my mindset for pretty much, the rest of my racing career. So
perfect. Well, one thing that's been fun, and then you have the rest of the month off before Portland. But the last thing about racing for you, and this has been so much fun. The people have told me they love this. Even members of your family said they love this. Without giving away your specific strategies to get around that Portland International Raceway 1.964 mile 12-turn road course. I'm giving it away there. But without giving away your specific strategies, do what you do. Take us around that course the best you can. If you can right now, put you on the spot again. I got to make you drive us around that 12-turn road course. What's that like?
Yeah, so coming across the line, we have turns 1 and 2 very close to each other. So it's all about just trying to get the best exit from turn number 2. So it's just hard braking into turn number 1. Make sure you set up good for turn number 2 and then get a good exit. Turn number 2 and then coming down to, I believe, turn 4 now. This track consists of a lot of long corners. So it's all about just, having the best minimum speed and carrying good speed through all these corners. Make sure you get good apexes. Turn 4, turn 5. And then same thing with 6 and 7. And then coming across over to turn 8. Turn 8, once again, very important to focus on a very good exit, because you have a long back straightaway. So get a good exit out of turn 8, and then very close to the wall, very close to the inside wall on the back straightaway. And then make sure you get the car straight before you're braking, and then braking for the last few corners on the track. Once again, very fast corners. It's all about having a good car in the fast corners, a very stable car in fast corners. So just make sure that you hit your marks, use the curves. In the final few corners, get a good exit. Once again, it's all about getting good exits here because of the long straights and these fast corners. So get a good exit out of the last corner, and then you have your run all the way down to the line.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm looking at the graphic illustration of the course, and so you got a little bit. It's not an exact straightaway on that backside, but when you come out of turn 12, like you said, there's an opportunity to come out of that turn strong, and you got a good little run past the start finish and back into 1 and 2 all over again. So very cool, nice. Thank you for taking us through that, Evagoras. Like I said, makes me feel like I'm riding right along with you.
Yeah.
So, and the listeners love that. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for today. Again, Evagoras, congratulations on that great green flag to checkered flag victory at Toronto. What a great way to wrap up and head into a month-long break. So enjoy it. Enjoy the break. Gives you some time to savor that victory, even though you don't have to think about racing. But enjoy your break, and looking forward to talking to you again as you get right near heading back out to Portland to race again at the end of the season.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Thank you.
Hey, one other quick thing. I know what I want. You know what? It takes a lot. And you've got some sponsors that have been there supporting you, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to give those guys a shout out for helping make this happen for Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. So who's behind that number 6?
Yeah, so obviously want to thank all my sponsors. D1 Training for all of I go in almost every day. To do workouts to be as physically prepared as possible, and then Airs Elite Sports Vision to not only be physically ready, but also cognitively ready. and also Body-Wise and Tiger Natural Gas. They've been my sponsors since go-karting. So very thankful for them. RP Diamond, local in Loveland. Thank you to RP Diamond for all of the stuff that they do for merch. And then Marco Matisse Paris and Evagoras Enterprises, Epsilon Investments, and and then also, my friends and family who have been supporting me, through everything that I've been through this season.
Perfect. Well, Evagoras, wish you a lot of fun over the next month, and then great luck when you head out to Portland. But again, look forward to talking to you a little bit before that and setting things up for those final 3 races of the season. But hey, listen, have a blast for the next couple of weeks, and we'll be talking with you again soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck.
Take care. Evagoras, thanks for joining us with another Evagoras Papasavvas Racing Report. We look forward to having you back again as you prepare for the final 2024 USF 2000 race weekend about a month from now, when you head to Portland, Oregon, August 22nd through the 25th for a driver championship deciding 3-race weekend to close out the 2024 racing season. Until then, enjoy the rest of your summer break, Evagoras. For now, this is Chuck Gibson saying thanks for listening here on Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special, tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special and Evagoras Papasavvas Racing Reports are a presentation of Loveland Beacon Digital Media and Gibson Communications, LLC.